Hi, welcome to Vanity and Violence, Southern Gothic Crime. I'm your host, Cece, and this is episode 2 of The House on Briar Ridge Road. And if you remember, this is a special series that I'm doing. So this is episode 2, and if you remember, the first part was You Can't Leave What Knows Your Name. And this one will be What the Land Remembers. So let's get to it. And just a recap of what happened at the very end of the first one. Claire Holloway had went to the house on 112 Briar Ridge Road, and when she walked in, she heard footsteps. She had found a picture of herself, and when she heard the footsteps, she spun around. She didn't see anyone, but it was like she could feel the presence of someone there. So let's get started. So episode 2 of What the Land Remembers. Claire didn't call the police. She didn't call a friend. She drove to the courthouse instead. The Franklin County Records Office smelled like damp paper and lemon cleaner. History stacked so high it bowed the shelves. The clerk behind the counter had eyes that knew when not to dig. "I'm looking for property records," Claire said. "For 112 Briar Ridge Road?" The typing stopped. "That place has been in your family a long time." "My family?" The screen turned. Owner of record, Claire Holloway. Filed 17 years ago. "That can't be right." The clerk shook her head. "Ma'am, nobody's paid taxes on that land in years. But nobody's challenged it neither." "Why not?" A pause. "Because folks around here know better than to wake old ground," she said. "Because Holloway women don't ever really leave." Claire learned what no one had bothered to tell her. Her mother, her aunt, depending on who you asked, was last seen at the house. The disappearance lined up with the utilities being turned on. No body, no follow-up. No one ever went back inside after the fire. The case wasn't unsolved. It was set aside. That night, Claire returned to Briar Ridge. The mirror showed more than one woman now, and carved deep into the door frame, slow, patient, intentional, were names. Holloway. Some crossed out, some left waiting. In the mountains, names matter. You don't give them lightly, and you don't change them without paying for it. Across the road stood a smaller house, folding in on itself. An old woman waited in the yard, hands folded like a prayer. "Do I know you?" Claire asked. "You used to," the woman said, "before you forgot." "I've never been here." It's what you said last time. The woman studied her carefully. We didn't call you Claire back then. The name landed wrong. Evelyn, she said. You hated it. Said it belonged to someone who was already gone. My name is Claire. The woman smiled. Names are easy. Lives ain't. You lived in that house 3 years, she went on. Quiet, mostly. Except at night. Do you remember the fire? She asked. Claire didn't. Kitchen window, the woman said. Middle of the night. Is anyone hurt? That depends, the woman said softly. And whether you remember what you locked in the basement. No police report? Claire asked. No body. No investigation? Because nobody was brave enough to go back inside afterward. Claire stepped away. I should go. You can, the woman said, but it won't let you stay gone. Why? Because you didn't finish it. Back at her car, Claire realized the photo she had taken from the mirror was gone. In its place, a folded scrap of paper. Same handwriting. Check the basement. Porch light flickered, then stayed on. Like the house had finally decided she was home. Down here they'll tell you, fire cleans what it can. The land keeps the rest. And Holloway women always come back. Until the house decides it's done remembering them. Down here, folks say memory is heavier than stone. That's why houses sink. That's why women bend. And that's why the past don't rise up screaming. It settles. Claire didn't go back inside right away. She sat in her car with the engine off, listening to the woods breathe. The porch light stayed on, patient. The basement door was already open when she finally crossed the threshold. It always had been. She just hadn't remembered. Stairs creaked like they hadn't recognized her weight. The air grew colder, not damp, preserved. The room at the bottom wasn't dark. Someone had painted it white once, long ago, before the fire. Names were carved into the wall. Not Holloway, other names. Neighbors, friends, women who came looking, women who stayed too long, and one name cut deeper than the rest. Evelyn Holloway. Claire staggered back. No, she whispered. That was when the memory returned. Not like a vision, but like a bruise you forgot you had until someone touched it. She hadn't been running from the house. She'd been running from the choice. The fire wasn't an accident. It was how she sealed the door. She had left someone inside. And she had told herself she didn't remember because that was easier than knowing she did. Upstairs, the mirror cracked down the middle, not breaking, dividing. The old woman was waiting at the bottom of the stairs when Claire returned. "You were always good at leaving before the end," she said gently. Claire's voice broke. "I didn't know how to stay." The woman nodded. "None of us ever do." That night, the porch light went out for the first time. Across the road, the old woman's house went dark too. In the morning, there would only be one hallway left to remember, and the land would wait to see what she decided to do with that. Claire woke before dawn. The house was still, not sleeping, listening. For the first time since she had returned, nothing creaked. No settling boards, no breathing walls. The mirror in the hallway showed only one woman, herself. That should have felt like relief. It didn't. She made coffee in the kitchen where the fire had started. The scorch marks were still there, faint beneath new paint, like veins just under skin. She traced one with her finger and felt the memory stir. Not panic, recognition. The house hadn't punished her for remembering. It had been waiting. The old woman was already awake across the road. Claire saw her through the window, sitting on the porch, hands folded the same way they always were, watching Briar Ridge like a thing that might finally exhale. Claire didn't grab her keys. She walked. The gravel shifted under her boots, loud in the morning quiet. The old woman looked up as Claire reached the road. "You look tired," she said. "I remember now," Claire replied. The woman nodded. "That'll do it." They sat together on the porch. For a long while, neither spoke. Then Claire said, "You stayed." "Yes." "You could have left." "I did," the woman said. "Once. Didn't take." Claire swallowed. "You sealed the basement." "I sealed my choice," the woman corrected gently. "The house didn't make it. It only asked." Claire stared at the boards beneath her feet. "And me?" The woman looked at her then. Really looked. "You ran after you chose," she said. "That's the difference." Claire stood. "I need to see it again." The old woman didn't stop her. The basement stairs felt steeper now, like the house was leaning inward. The air was colder than it had been, not angry, expectant. Claire stood in the white room. The names were still there. She read them all this time. Every woman who had come looking for something in the mountains couldn't give back. Every woman who stayed too long. Every woman whose name had been easier to carve than to mourn. And then the ledger. Dates. Fires. Silences. The Holloway line wasn't cursed. It was employed. Someone always had to remember what the town wouldn't. Someone always had to stay with it. Claire pressed her palm flat against the wall. The house shuddered. Not violently, relieved. Upstairs, the mirror cracked again. This time, all the way through. Not splitting, opening. Claire didn't look away. She saw herself as she had been. Evelyn, standing in smoke, choosing to close the door because staying felt worse than guilt. She saw the women before her, not ghosts, not haints, witnesses. "I'm here," Claire said aloud. "I'm not leaving it unfinished." The mirror went dark. By nightfall, the house had changed. Not repaired, unburdened. The porch light didn't come on. It didn't need to anymore. Claire crossed the road one last time. The old woman's house was dark. It was empty. On the porch chair lay a folded piece of paper with one line. "You'll know when it's time." Claire nodded, though no one was watching. Claire did not burn the house. She opened it. She cataloged every single name, every date, every silence. She drove into town and filed records that had never existed. She spoke names out loud in rooms that had never heard them. She didn't tell the story. She told it true. Some folks listened. Some didn't. That was never the point. Years later, a woman stopped at the edge of Briar Ridge Road. The house stands, weathered, quiet, and the porch light flicked on, not as a summons, but as a warning. Claire Holloway steps onto the porch, older now, still here. The mountains breathe, and the land, finally remembered, rests. Down here, they'll tell you, some inherit money, some inherit land, some inherit work that don't ever finish. And the bravest thing a woman can do is stay long enough to tell the truth out loud. I hope you enjoyed the story. This is Vanity and Violence, Southern Gothic Crime. I'm Cece. Have a great night.